Hi, thanks for your interest in this project that we are embarking on. It started with conversations that we had with a pastor in the area of South Sudan, but I'm really optimistic that, as we think through this new idea for training in remote villages to places where people are largely illiterate, that this can expand beyond South Sudan into other areas of the world that are also remote or don't have access to a lot of physical training support. And so the conversation that we first had with this pastor honestly was really heartbreaking. He was sharing just the level of humanitarian need in South Sudan right now. And, he was interested in disability inclusion training for schools there, churches there, but hearing the level of need, it just didn't feel like our current resources are what was going to be the best first step for them. So we never like to just, close a door that God has opened. So we started asking some questions, had this great Zoom conversation with a couple of doctors doing great work in the area of South Sudan. And as we began to learn a little bit more about the way that information is passed on there, we began to have these ideas on how we can take some of our current training, disability inclusion training curriculum, and revamp it to create a training pathway that will allow leaders there to take this content, memorize it, because we're going to put it into short, easier snippets, and they can put it to song through storytelling. And that is how then this information gets passed on to people who don't have access to training resources, or maybe who are illiterate but still have the heart to want to see disability inclusion happening in their communities. So it's an exciting challenge for us, but what I think is most exciting for me about this is the opportunity to reach areas that are often not able to get access to these types of training supports. So we're going to test out a few. We're going to create some basic resources, share them, ask these leaders to then pass it on to some of these villages that they're working in, kind of test it out, see how it goes. And if it is well received, then we'll be able to duplicate more content so that we can make disability inclusion a reality, even in the most remote of villages. So we would love for you to partner with us on this. If you have ideas, we would love to hear them. We absolutely covet your prayers for this project, for wisdom as we're creating these training pathways, but then also for the leaders who are passing it on in these villages. But gosh, what a beautiful thing that the heart is for inclusion, that the conversation is happening no matter where we are in the world about how we can better love and bring people with disabilities into our communities. So I'm so grateful for what's happening there, and thanks for being a part of this project with us.